Hello, good evening. Welcome to the first stage of the Tour des Alpes, Tour des Alpes, if you want to be grammatically correct. This is stage one of first of 10 stages that will be taking place over the next 2 weeks, brought to you by OTR Racing, OTRE Racing, on roads created by the very talented Paul Nichols, and it will all be brought to you by ZMS on Esports TV. And so you'll be able to catch all the action here over the next 2 weeks. Basically what's happening is every day there are 4 events that take place at to cater for different time zones, starting at midnight, and I'm talking UK time here, and then at every 6 hours, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and then this one, which in the UK is at 6 o'clock, is the last one of the day. After that, the results will be totaled up by time across each of the 4 events, and that gives us a leader for the day, and those accumulate over the period over the 2 weeks. It's simple as that, like a stage race, really. You know how it works. So this is it's the first stage, but it's the 4th event. Earlier today, we had I think we've had something like 40, maybe nearly 50 riders taking place in the 3 events that have taken part so far. The fastest time, and tonight's race is, as you can see on the map there, on the infographic there, Vollège to Levron, apologies for my pronunciation, 11 kilometers, 883 meters climbed. So look at that cursor go. They're not going to go up at that fast, but look at those zigzags, look at those hairpins, look at those climbs. That's just, actually, not even if you're a climber, if you're a cyclist, that sort of stuff just gets you really excited, doesn't it? Looking at those sort of roads, we've all seen it on Facebook and other groups, looking at these fantastic roads going up these climbs. This tour is full of them. So if you like that sort of stuff, keep coming back, take part in the events, keep watching the streams, and you'll see plenty of those. So we're at less than a minute now until it starts off. We have plenty of time to chat through some of the facts and see some of the riders as we get going. Got 30 seconds now until this stage kicks off, and I think we had close to 100 riders signed up for this one. So yeah, it says 100 on my RGT app, so I don't know if that's because 100's the limit and on the app, or maybe there's more, but that's a fantastic number of riders signed up. We'll go through some of the names, we'll look at some of the riders as Damon does his magic on ZMS. And here we are, just about to start now, 1 second to go, and we're off. Race started, we're off. Oh, look at that, even a flyover, fantastic. That's great stuff. As we start off on stage 1, edition 4, so we've got some early leaders from Ratio Racing there, Krajewski, Paul Pedel. I've seen Paul in many races, he's a regular on RGT. Looks like most of the pack there are taking it easy, and that's pretty sensible because this is only 6-7% now, but it's going to go up and it's going to keep going up. So we've got some early leaders there, Contant and Daniel Cadiz. Daniel Cadiz from Chile is a very strong rider, muy strong rider. He's clocking up 400 watts there. He's making sure that he's staying at the front, dancing on the pedals there. 400 watts, 70 cadence, still doing 21 kilometers an hour. Heart rate not probably as high as it's going to be. It's going up, 148, 149. That heart rate's going to keep going up. Well, that was that's going to keep going up as he goes along. And now we've got Contant. I'm not sure what the C is for. I'll see if I can find out, but clearly a French rider there, and he's in sort of the right area. So this part of Switzerland is the southwest corner. So it's down on the French border, and most of the people in this region would speak French. It's very much as I say, the Franco-speaking region, and across the border from places that you've heard of like Chamonix, Mont Blanc. Those are, it's that sort of area of the French Swiss Alps. So lots of famous mountains, lots of climbs. So there we go. Cadiz, Conton, and Gadus. Is that a Serbian flag? I hope I'm not, or a Slovenian flag. I'm not sure. Apologies if I've got that wrong. Vitorino there, Portuguese flag. So we've got an early group who are putting down some power, putting down the effort to get ahead. PDD there, not much information. I think that's a Russian flag. Marshall from England. Beams. Now John Beams, a very strong rider. He's in 10th place here. He's not far behind those leaders. So, you know, these climbs are all about keeping a steady pace and keeping to a power that you know you can sustain over a period of time. We've even got a live cam there of John Beams. Hey, John, I don't know if he's also listening. Some people do also listen to the commentary as they go. If you are, blink twice. No. He's unzipped already there, very wise. He's doing over 400 watts, keeping a good cadence there. Often the tendency is to slow down on the cadence as you grind up these things, but he's keeping a nice high cadence there, keeping it spinning. Some people like to do that. So he's still doing 20 kilometers an hour, heart rate going up 160, 161. He's probably got a little bit of time there, a little bit of headroom there to keep it going up. And he's moving up now. Is he keeping up that pace? He was moving up into 5th. We've got Lopez there in 6th place from Spain. Little groups sort of starting to form. I mean, the thing on these climbs is you're really not getting a lot of draft, so other people are useful as a pace. You know, it's good if you've got someone ahead of you, you can keep them as a pace. So here we go, Pete DD. As I say, I think that's a Russian flag. See if I can find him on the thing. So he's doing good 400, also 420 watts, moving up on John there. Just going to try and keep on John's wheel there by the look of it. That's a good tactic to, you know, just have somebody in your sights and keep them going. So here we have Content now. He's got a little bit of a gap over Gadus, and Cadiz, well, they've distanced Cadiz. So now we have Content and Gadus, who are forming a little pair up the front. Gadus just a few meters behind Content, who is in the red. It's going to be difficult to keep that going. They're 16% now on the gradient. That's tough. That is very tough. And the speed now has slowed down to 13, 14 kilometers an hour. That's probably about what they'll average. Coming up on these hairpins. So they're well into these multiple series of hairpins as they go up the climb to the Levron. Cadiz there still has the mini sights. There's only another, was that 25 meters? Actually, yeah, it's a bit deceptive as they go onto these little flat over the hairpin. They make a lot of distance, so it's stretched out now to 50 meters. And then as they hit the hairpin and the steep slope, 22%. Oh my God, 24, 25%. Paul Nichols, what have you done to these people? I think Paul's actually riding tonight, so, you know, give him credit. He's suffering at his own hands. 25%, wow. And you know, as soon as the front riders hit that 25%, obviously the distance comes back quite a lot. But there we go. So we had Cadiz, Krajewski in 4th, Beams still in 5th with DD next to him, Lopez then in 7th, Vitorino, Marshall in 9th, and who's going to round out our top 10? Stevens from MR team. I'm not sure what the MR is. Try and find that out. Quite a few teams represented here, although not any of the big teams, I think, at the front. So Stevens, here we go. He's from Southam in the UK, aged 50, height 1.76 meters, weight 67 kilos. That's good. It's good climbing weight. If he can keep out the power, then he'll be doing a good power to weight ratio. And that is basically what it's all about going up these climbs. It's about your power to weight ratio. So he's doing about 340, 350. So at 67 kilos, that's close to 5 watts per kilo. That's, you know, if you can keep close to 5 watts per kilo, especially on the steeper bits, you're going to do pretty well. You see the difference there in cadence. We saw John Beams was up in the 90s, whereas here John Stevens is much more of a grinder. He's grinding away in the 60s. Just different people have different ways of doing it. Here we go, Lee Marshall with the English flag there. Pretty good. His heart rate's only gone up to 152. Come on, Lee. I think you might have a little bit more effort there. Hopefully he's marshalling it. Oh no, the heart rate's going up there, 150, 155. So, but he's doing a lot less watts and still managing to keep on John's wheel there, 300, 320. So that's good. But I think it's all relative. It depends on your weight, and it's all about power watts per kilo. So if Lee is doing nearly 5 watts per kilo at 350, if Lee is a bit smaller than that, doesn't weigh as much, then he can keep up because of the good watts per kilo ratio. So here we've had a bit of a change at the front now. Gadus has taken over from Contant, although they're staying together. So I wouldn't say this was a lead. This is really formed as a pair. They look like they're going to tag each other all the way up. Here's Contant coming back in ahead of Gadus, and they look like they're going to be taking this all the way up the climbs together. So this should be a good battle coming up with these two. And Contant there, PDL again, another team that I'm not aware of. I'll have to go and look some of these up before. I'm with you tomorrow night as well. So, just in case you finish tonight, think I never want to listen to that man again, well, you'll have to listen to me tomorrow. Hopefully not too bad. If I ever remind you of Carlton Kirby, then you just write in and tell Damon and he'll sack me immediately. So we're going back now through the field there on the right-hand side of your screen. So a little group forming now of 3, 4, 5. So Cadiz, Krajewski and Beams have fallen in together. Can't quite see whether, was it DD was just behind? No, Vettorino. So DD has fallen off that group. He put in quite an effort to keep up to Beams, but obviously it was too much. And that is always the danger, that you put in too much effort and you can't keep it going. The good climbers are the ones who know that they can keep going and keep this pace. So Beams now working his way up. That's really good going. Working his way up through the field. He's put in a little bit of an effort there, it looks like, to try and drop Cadiz and to drop Krajewski, get a bit of a gap. That was a little bit of, as they hit this next hairpin, I think that was a bit of a flat. He was just powering away there, so the cadence went up. But of course, as we saw when we saw his graphic, Beams does like a high cadence, so his avatar will spin faster than some of the others. So now that group has reformed. He didn't manage to get a gap. Cadiz now, a little bit of red there, going ahead. Dancing on the pedals there, get out of the saddle. He's pushing ahead, but it looks again like this group might stay together for a while. These are all very strong riders. Cadiz, I know from many races, has done a few of track events, TNT events that I used to do. Beams also, I think relatively recent. I think he did his first race as a TNT not that long ago. So he's a new arrival to RGT, but very welcome and a very strong rider. So Daniel there, just getting now around 300, I guess, as an average. Not sure why his cadence isn't showing. Obviously not getting any data on his cadence, but I'm sure he is pedaling. So he's doing, what's that? Yeah, 5, it's varying, but 4 or 5 watts per kilo. And they both seem to now have put a little bit of a gap now into Krajewski. So we've got 2 groups, if Gadus and Contant are still together, as they are. There we go, coming into screen now. So Contant and Gadus now together, staying together, and they've got quite a gap now back to another pair behind them, which is Cadiz and Beams, and it looks like they're going to take it ahead. So we've got 7.2 kilometers. So they've covered 4 kilometers, or nearly 4 kilometers, 3.8 kilometers already. They've climbed 288 meters. So they're a bit over a third of the way through the, well, they're a bit over a third of the way all up, third of the way through the climbing. Thank you, Damon has put the graphic up there. That's Francois. Sorry, that's GoMR. Sorry, Francois, that's come on Facebook. Thank you, Francois. GoMR Moon Riders. That's, of course, I've seen Moon Riders on the Facebook pages, lots of good riders there. Francois, also a very good rider. So yeah, go Moon Riders. That's the MR for John Stevens there that we saw earlier on. Thank you for filling me in on that one, Francois. And hello to everyone watching. I'm Keith Atchison, also filling me in, PDL Peddlers. Okay, Keith, I know, rode in one of the earlier events. Keith, I don't think you were riding, correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, but I think Keith was riding with OTR, who of course are putting on this event. Henrik Mard, Peddlers. So, okay, so while we get to that, so Henrik did a very good time. Henrik and Keith were in the same race earlier on today. At one time, Henrik was sitting atop the leaderboard. He did a time of 40 minutes and 57 seconds for this stage, for this event. And Keith was not far behind him on 43.20. And then later on in that day, we had, so in the 12 o'clock ride, we had Kasper Hedemam from the Danish group, ECKD. And he did a fantastic time of 36.43. So that is the time to beat. That's the time that Contant and Gadus will be looking to beat as they come up here, 36 minutes and 43. And I did a rough calculation earlier on that. I don't know exactly Casper's, obviously his weight and all those sorts of details, but a rough calculation was hell. I'm not surprised, Keith. It looks, I mean, those 25% grades. And Keith, by the way, is a climber. Keith is a good climber. He's one of the lighter riders who likes going up these things. So if Keith says it was hell, you can pretty much know it was hell. And obviously it was such hell that he's come back to enjoy watching everybody else go through it. Isn't that nice of Keith? So those were the times from earlier today. So we had Casper on 36.43. We had Jonty Williams, who was second to Casper in that race. He was on 38.09. And Wouter Kles, who's a Belgian rider, he was on 39.48. So they all came out ahead. I was saying I did a rough calculation, and Casper's VAM, which if you know your cycling terms, is it's actually an Italian term. Velocity basically means velocity, climbing velocity. I won't try and do it in Italian. It was about 1,400 meters. VAM of 1,400 meters, I think it's per hour. That's pretty good. I mean, 1,400 is a very good time. You're going to be up the top if you're climbing at a VAM of 1,400. So now we're back with John here, who has very, very steadily worked his way up. He's staying with Daniel. They look like they're going to keep together. John now settling in, if that's the word, to a sort of high mid 300s, 340, 350, keeping that good cadence up. That's fantastic cadence to keep going. That's great climbing cadence of John there for peddlers. And here we go, Krajewski from Ratio Racing. I know that one. He's dropped off this little pair back into 5th place. So he's on his own there in the top 5. So Contant now, has he got a tiny gap? Not much. And you could certainly close that in a fairly short space of time to Gadus. And Gadus looks like he's trying to close that gap as well. So he's not going to let Contant get away. He's going to keep hold of him, going to keep on his wheel as we come up this climb. We're now 5.6, so just over halfway. So halfway, yep. Oh, no, sorry. Why am I getting this all wrong? They've done 5.4. Sorry, that's remaining. So 5.4 done, 5.6 remaining. So we're nearly halfway, and we're halfway, pretty much halfway on the climbing. So, you've only got all the pain that you've had so far, and you've just got to do it all again. Simple as that. I mean, sometimes when you're doing these, any rides really, whether it's a long distance ride or whether it's a climb, a lot of it is about your mental approach. Sometimes a lot of riders like to sort of try and not trick themselves is the wrong word, but you set yourselves little goals. You say something like, okay, I'm halfway, I've done this, I know I've done this half, I can do this again, or I can keep doing it. You have to set yourself little targets to keep going. So we're now going a little bit back through the field, picking some of the riders out. So we've got Jim Ogilvie here. M stands for Masters. That's because he is aged 51. He's one of the OTR riders in the OTR kit there. He's from Kent in the UK. 178 centimeters and 73 kilograms. And of course, James. Yes, of course. What am I saying? James. James is the founder of OTR. I've been chatting with James. So James is the founder of OTR e-racing. So this is his event, and he's suffering through it himself. James and Paul have been working together to put on lots of great OTR events. So it was the gym that confused me, because I messaged with James on Facebook, and it's James. So I saw Jim and didn't really put two and two together. There you go. So yeah, Jim, founder of OTR, puts on some fantastic events. So this is one of the series that James has put on. There's another series running at the moment called King of the Castle on Sunday afternoons. I think we've got another week of that to go. And I'll mention that's going to be replaced by another series which I'm going to be involved in. Some of you know I have been doing TNT track racing on Tuesday nights, but we've decided to give that a rest for a little while. Here we go, Paul Pudell, as we're going back through through some of the riders. Paul Pudell also riding for OTR. So I'm working with James and Paul, and we're going to take over that Sunday slot once King of the Castle is finished. Here you go, Paul from Offenburg in Germany, 1.676 meters and 76 kilograms. Paul and I, when we're in events together, I've done quite a few races where Paul is in. We tend to be sort of around the same spot in the field. So judging by the fact that Paul is here in 29th, I figure if I was doing this, I'd be somewhere around the same spot. We seem to be fairly similar. So here we go. Pete Proctor here from WLC. Again, maybe somebody can help me with what that one is. And easing off the power there seems to be I don't know whether that was perhaps a problem or some sort of issue. We went down to like 100 watts, 100 watts there, and got overtaken by one of the other riders. Maybe just feeling the effort, and that's quite understandable. Here we go, Guinaldo, Evan Oystensen from Team 3R. I've been riding with Evan in some of the Magic Roads team time trial events that take place that Mike Lister puts on. I've been freelancing in the 3R team with Evan and Tim Cook, Rob Miller, and some of the other 3R riders. Here we go, R Perks, nicely in the red there, so that's indicating a pretty strong effort. John Bothway, how's it going, John? John, as many of you, I'm sure most of you know, is one of the RGT staff. He is the man who answers a lot of our questions and deals with us on Facebook and calms everything down and helps us when we need things. So great to see John. I know he does a lot of the events. Great to see John out here and riding. And he's in 35th, coming along nicely. M. Cooper, I'm going to guess with a mic. There we go. ILK Keysi. Could that be Ilkley Cycle Club, one of a famous cycle club in Yorkshire, in the north of England? I think Ilkley's in Yorkshire. They don't like it when you get that sort of thing wrong, but we'll see. Somebody will tell me. But yeah, Ilkley CC is a very famous cycling club up there. A couple of Danish riders there, Vistula. Sorry, not a couple of. So it's Austrian rider Brandy and Vistula. Danish rider in 37 and 38. So we're just jumping back through the field to see a Harry Brandy. I think that is Austrian flag, but again, apologies if I've got that wrong. Shackleton there. Just so these riders here seem to, I won't say, I certainly wouldn't say taking it easy. I know it's hard work, but they've settled into a nice rhythm here, settling into the yellow zone. If you sure if you're familiar with RGT, those zones correspond to your FTP zones. So green is about tempo, yellow is about you're doing about your FTP, which is the pace you can maintain for an hour. Orange is slightly above FTP, and red, obviously, well, red is red. There we go, Macca there. An OTR racer, nice and green. Andy Macca from Essex, stage 50, 78 kilos, 1.75 meters. So, yeah, I'm not seeing the things to see what's per kilo he's doing, but he seems to have settled, around a tempo pace. So probably just sub FTP. And, I guess it depends what sort of time you think you're getting. But if you're aiming for a time of 40, your FTP is theoretically the power that you can produce for an hour. That is literally the definition of FTP. So if you're aiming for a time of 40 minutes, you really should be aiming to do slightly above FTP, because you're only going to be doing it for 40 minutes. So you should be aiming to do sort of 110, 125% of FTP for that time. So Gadouche and Contant still together with 3.5 kilometers to go. So they've covered 7.3. Cadiz now has split away from Beams. There's about mid-distance between Beams and Cadiz. So, muy bien, Daniel. He is, steady as she goes, sort of at around 300, 400, getting out of the saddle on some of these steeper slopes at 10%. It looks it's going to keep going up. It tails off a little bit, I think, at certain places, but it pretty much keeps going up. Here's John again with one of the people who volunteered to put the webcam on. It's great to see people as they are making quite an effort on their bikes. So he's still pushing away at 350, high 300s, but keeping that fantastic cadence going. As I say, cadence is a very individual thing. A lot of 80 to 90, I think most people would say is sort of the sweet spot for most riders. I mean, triathletes tend to do lower cadence. Track riders tend to do much higher cadence. Being someone who does a lot of track myself, I can 80 to 90 is actually a very low cadence on the track. But for the road, 80 to 90 is generally a pretty good cadence. The problem with doing higher cadence is your heart, especially if you're not training for it, your heart rate tends to go up quite a lot the higher your cadence. Even putting out the same power, you will always have a lower heart rate on a lower cadence at the same power. So it's something that you have to train for if you want to be doing things at high cadence. So I'm guessing that John, being a very strong rider, does a lot of training for that sort of cadence. So now we're definitely splitting up. So Gadouche seems to be Gadouche has made an effort now. He's broken away from Contant. Looks to have a gap of, guessing there, it's about maybe 20, 30 meters at least. So things are splitting up now. We might not be getting a sprint finish at the top of this summit. So Gadouche getting away from Contant there. Cadiz following up behind. Contant in the green. He seems to have he's let Gadouche go. Not sure if that's just that he's thought, well, he's gone. I can't keep on his wheel. I'm going to let him go. Or maybe it's a sign that he is having a bit of a, the effort has told and he can't keep it going for that. And maybe Cadiz could be thinking about catching Contant. He's got 100 meters to go, which is a fair old way on these sort of climbs. Beam's not letting Cadiz go. He is keeping him in his sight. So well done, John. That's a great effort. Sometimes, when people get a bit of a gap, the tendency is your head goes down. You think, well, they're gone now. I'll just concentrate on what I'm doing. But Beams is not going to let Daniel go. He is got that 20 meters back. He's now back on his wheel. So this is a great battle. And just ahead of them, you can see Contant. So they've closed that gap now to 80 meters, 90 meters on Contant. Maybe with the two of them together, I think we've got a little bit of a bump coming up, a steep section. And then a little bit of a flat. So if they can put in an effort up this coming rise, the gap will drop dramatically, and then they'll have a little bit of a flat. The question is, do you still have enough on the flat to be able to put in an effort? Because that's where you'll make up more ground on the climbs, but you don't want to ease off when you get on the flats. So Paul Nicholls there. So Paul is the man behind this and many other fantastic magic roads. Paul has put all these magic roads together. He's put together the magic roads for the series that I mentioned before that will be taking over the Sunday afternoon slot. It's going to be based around routes in Dubai. It's going to have a sort of a mix. It's actually a sort of very personal one, really. It's because I used to live out in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, so I know a lot of the roads out there. So Paul has done a great job of putting together some of the roads from my old Strava rides and also some other suggestions that I've given him. Paul's down in Sussex. I think he's near Brighton. I certainly know a lot of his events are on the south coast. He's done a great job. So it's going to be a mix of sort of some of the fantastic Dubai roads, which I had to say, Dubai is a fantastic place for cycling. If you're ever tempted for a Northern Hemisphere winter cycling holiday, I know a lot of people go to Spain and so on, but Dubai is actually a really good place for riding. There's lots of great riding out there. So content now, as we head back to the front, he's hit that little flat. So it's a descent. So very short, but it was a brief descent. And now he's back on the slopes. So there wasn't much respite, but enough to, get your legs back. It's enough for you to get a bit of a breather, to, relax your legs a little bit if you're on a climb, and keep it going there. So, so as I say, the Dubai tour, not Dubai tour, we're calling it Dubai Adventures, because it's not really a tour. It's different types of riding. It'll have a little bit of obviously it's got a Dubai theme, but it'll also have a little bit of a track theme. So there's going to be a mix of road races. There's going to be some elimination races in track style. There's going to be some time trials, including one around a course based on the Palm Jumeirah, which I'm sure you've all seen, that man-made island in the shape of the palm. And a couple of really good hill climbs. One called Jebel Hafit, which I've done many times, which is often featured on driving roads. It's the Middle East's answer to Alpes d'Huez, with something like, I think it's 12 or 14 hairpins going up. Fantastic road going up the mountain. And another one called Jebel Jais, which is an amazing climb that is 19 kilometers long at an absolutely constant 6%. Never changes. It's a fantastic feat of engineering. Even on the hairpins, it doesn't change. So look out for those on Sunday afternoons once King of the Castle stops. So go Christoph. So Nick has helped me there. So the C is presuming content. I've been looking through the RGTDB to try and find his first name because it's listed there, but I for the life of me can't find it there. So Christoph Conton, thank you, Nick, for filling me in on that. So yeah, go Christoph. The last ramp is a killer. Oh my god. Well, thanks for that, Keith. Spoiler alert. Oh, okay. I mean, they've already had 20 to 25%, and now Keith is telling us that the last one is a killer. Well, that's going to be something when we get to that. So stay tuned, because they've got one. So Gadouche here has got 1.7 kilometers to go before he gets to that last stop. Allez le Français. Yeah, I know. Keith, I know, he lives in, I think he's in Spain, but I think might also spend a bit of time in France. Apologies if I've got that wrong, Keith, but I'm sure Keith is able to cheer people on in French, Spanish, and English as he chooses. So, as I thought now, Cadiz has been caught by Conton. Oh, sorry, Cadiz. Sorry, what am I saying? Cadiz has actually come up. So Conton, as I thought, Conton, once he lost the wheel of Gadouche, eased off. We saw him last time. We saw him. He was in the green, so that indicated he'd eased off the power a lot. And I was wondering whether it was just that he'd temporarily decided to let Gadouche go, or whether it was that he was actually suffering. And I think it could be that he is suffering a bit. He's suffering for the efforts he's made so far, and he's been caught now by Cadiz and Beams, who've made up that gap, which when we saw it before was 80 to 100 meters. So the chase, 20 seconds they've got to Gadouche, The chase is 20 seconds behind him, so it's 160 meters. That's a fair old distance. And Gadouche, to be fair, he's staying there. I can just see his numbers there, 6 watts per kilo in the red. He's showing no signs that he's going to be slacking off anytime soon. So I think the trio will be hard pressed to catch Gadouche. But look, as is happening now, Conton, I think he's suffered for trying to stay with Gadouche. He's been caught by Cadiz and Beams, and now he's been dropped by them. He can't keep hold of their wheel. As I said right at the beginning, these hill climbs are very much about maintaining a power and being able to keep that power the whole way up. And both Beams and Cadiz, good examples of that. Beams, I think in particular, when we first saw him, we come into the final. When we first saw Beams, he was in, I think, lower, 10th or 11th place, and but he's a very good time trialist. He's kept his power, he's maintained that all the way up, and has worked his way through the field. So Gadouche now is in the final kilometre. He's got 900 metres to go. These guys are just going under the 1 kilometre to go barrier, the Flamme Rouge, signalling 1 kilometre to go. Conton now behind them. He's about 40 meters behind Cadiz and Beams. I don't see him being able to make that up. And then there's another 200 meters back to, well, no, it won't be that 200 meters. 200 meters to Krajewski. So Conton looks safe. He's not going to lose 4th place. I think it's unlikely that he's going to suffer enough that Krajewski is going to make up that 200 meters in the final kilometer. I would say Krajewski might be wishing the course was longer, but I don't think anybody will be wishing that. I should mention, by the way, I'm not sure how they're being awarded, but there is a spot prize tonight from one of the sponsors of the series. There are 3 sponsors of the series. One of them is Torm Cycle Clothing. Have a look at some of their great merino stuff on torm.cc. The other sponsors are Hexi Socks, which I have to say I'd never seen before, but I've had a look on their site and they do some amazing socks. And Paleo Valley, who are makers of nutritional products, foods based on paleo diet. So those are the 3 sponsors, and there were spot prizes from all of them on different nights. But tonight's is from Torm Cycle Clothing. I don't know what it is. I guess that's up to Jim to tell us. But one of the lucky riders, I'm not sure how it's awarded, if it's first across the line or whether it's like a prime for one of the riders, that somebody will be getting a spot prize from Torm Cycling. So lucky them. So we're coming up now to the final few hundred meters, but I think it is that last killer hellish ramp that Keith warned us about. Shout out to Jojo Rusnek, best the old man. Yeah, it's Jojo racing. Okay, there he is in 11th place. Yeah, I see. Yeah, we didn't see him as we went down. So, or maybe we saw him and I missed him. Sorry about that. Yeah, Jojo, very good Masters rider. He's been doing the OTR Veterans Series, which is on Tuesday nights, and doing very well in that, I think, too. So here we go. Gadouche now in the final 200 meters. He's on this final ramp. It's going up to 12%, and I think it's got a bit more to go. It's a real killer coming up here. So we're ramping up 14%, 15%, and I'm just looking at that profile graphic and seeing that it's still got a bit to go. So 15%, but he can see the line now. That's one of those, mental trick. I mean, if you can see something ahead, you think, okay, I can get there. And he's pushing it up to 5, 6, and it looks like behind, I'm just looking at the figures there, Cadiz has made an effort. He's ratcheting up 10, 11 watts per kilo to drop Beams and ensure that he gets second place as those second and third riders, as Gadouche crosses the line here in first place, 35.53, I think. So that should put him in the lead. That's, nearly a minute ahead of Casper. Cadiz now crossing the line in second place. He's also going to jump up the leaderboard and be second overall. And Beams now 36.12. So all these riders are going to be ahead of the earlier races. So that's your daily leaderboard that you're looking at there. Gadouche, Cadiz, Beams, and I think if Conton, Conton is going to do it as well. 36.43 was that magic time from Casper headed on earlier. So Conton is also going to across that. I don't think Krajewski will quite make it inside the time. Oh, it's like one of those. Oh no, he's got 50 meters to go, so he's not going to make it ahead of Kasper Headedam from earlier. So that would put Kasper Headedam in fourth place overall. But Krajewski will be, I think, in fifth place overall, and sixth place overall and fifth place on the night. So fantastic effort there. So there's now starting to come in. Here comes DD in sixth place, powering up. They still got that final climb to go. So there was quite a gap there from Krajewski, Vracio Racing, back to DD here. So what was it, 300 meters to go? So he's got the fun of that last climb still to go. 250 meters there for DD. I don't think, looking at the list on the left there's no one so close behind that's going to catch him, although it looks like we have some good battles further down. So we've got DD here coming into his last couple of 150 meters. He's safe, he's not going to get caught. He's holding on to sixth place there. And as we fill in the leaderboard over on the right hand side there, so just filling it in, so Gadush 35.53, 5 watts per kilo. That's a very impressive effort. Cadiz 35.59, 4.8 watts per kilo. It's about the same power that Kasper did earlier, and John Beams at 4.88. Kasper, I think, was about 4.8 as well. So that's what you need to do to be at the top. DD now is going to come in sixth place. He's about to cross the line, fall exhausted from his trainer, and who could blame him? John Stevens there from Moonriders. Well done, John. 25 meters. So he was pretty close to DD, but not quite enough to catch him at the end. So good result there for Moonriders. Lee Marshall here coming in. Again, pretty safe. He's got a rider 40 meters behind him, but they're not going to catch him in this last few meters. Some close battles I see behind. So there's only sort of 14, 15 meters between the next riders to come in, Lopez and Vitorino. An Iberian battle there, Spain versus Portugal, but it looks like the Spaniards are going to win as Lopez crosses the line. Vitorino putting in a big effort at the end, but not quite enough to catch Lopez. So that's your top 10 there. Now, Jojo Rusinek, well done, Jojo. As Keith said, well done for the old guys, and one of them myself. So that's a good effort from Jojo. I think the D next to his name is D for his Masters category, which means he would be, if they're using the same as normal, that would mean he'd be in 45 to 49. Hugo Ostana, didn't see him, a Canadian rider, featuring during the race, but he's moved up nicely. Dulac, French rider in the 13th place, putting in some big power here, but also fairly safe. So yeah, he's got someone 40 meters behind him, but he's 75 meters away from the line, so he is safe as he crosses the line there. And hopefully we'll see, I think we've got quite some gaps. Hopefully we're going to see some battles. Everyone needs to fight for their place and for their time. It will add up over the whole series. And even if you're not at the top of these series, what often happens is people take part over sorry, the screen's a bit small. I need to make it bigger so I can see some of these names as we get, Ra, that was. And Marla here coming in 15th spot. What was I saying? So what happens? So we won't stay for everybody because we've got more than 100 riders, and I think some of the earlier times were coming up to over an hour 20. So we're apologies to the later riders, but we'll just wait for a few more riders to come in, and then we'll wrap up. Maybe we'll fill out that top 20. How about that? We'll wait for the top 20 to come in, and then we'll start wrapping up. And of course, we'll be able to, if you check on RGTDB and the or the OTR Facebook page, James will be updating the race results with all 4 races, putting together times and putting a combined leaderboard together so that everybody can see where they finished in the day's races ahead of tomorrow. We'll look at tomorrow's map as we wrap up after these 20 riders. We get the next first 20 riders coming in. So yeah, as I was saying, over the course of a series, it doesn't matter if you're 15th or 20th or 30th or 40th. What tends to happen is you get the same people, and there's similar abilities, and so it becomes a battle amongst yourselves. Like I was saying earlier on, everyone has these little mental games, and you think, okay, that guy or that woman is ahead of me. I'm going to try and stay on the wheel. I'm going to try and finish ahead of them tonight. I'm fighting for my place. It's not all about fighting for the top podium spots. You get these little micro battles that evolve. That's the great thing about a series or a league. These little battles evolve, and people start to race amongst their peers, amongst the people who are around them in the races. And that becomes a source of interest for them. I'm sure if you stay with watching these events over the next few weeks, or you're doing them as well, you'll see those battles unfold as we go through. So now we're coming to 19th. Le Polk, Swiss rider there, home finish. Should be getting a big cheer from the crowd as he crosses the line. I'm pretty sure that I didn't see any other Swiss flags. So well done, first home rider to cross the line. And here we go with Isidore in the Italian flag, who is going to cross in 20th place. And we'll just update that board and then we'll head off. We've got a few more coming in. A big shout out there to Mike Murray, a friend of mine who I've also done some team time trials with. And so, yeah, he's going to be crossing the line soon. And here we go. Okay, we'll stay for James because it is his race after all. So 21st place, James Ogilvy crossing the line there, flying his Scottish banner proudly. Oh, give us a wave. Thank you, James. Well done. Great racing. I'm sure everybody's, well, they're not cursing you, they're probably cursing Paul, but great series, and I'm sure it will be a great series as we go over these races and all the other events. So that's our top 20. And I think we're going to wait for the names to come up on the board. A little bit of a delay there, but we'll start thinking about tomorrow's race. So as I said, this is a series of 10 races. There we go. There's our top 20 there. So top was again Ivan Garush, 35.53, and he will go to the top of the daily leaderboard, all the way down to 20th place, which is 43.58. So still a very good time. Séverine Lepoc. So that, I think Séverine is a female name in French. So that might be one of our top female riders. I did see some earlier riders. Saw Barbara Herrera earlier. So I'm not sure if we have different categories. That's something I'll also check, and we'll bring you that tomorrow. So that's our top 20 as riders continue to come across the line. Shout out to all the moon riders. Yep, absolutely. Well done all the moon riders. Well done all the peddlers. Well done all the OTR riders. Well done all the Ratio riders. All the teams, all the groups, and all the individual riders who are riding in these events. It's great to see so many teams. It's great to see so many new names that are coming in. These sort of series bring in a lot of people to RGT, which, as we all know, is a fantastic platform, and we all want to do as much as we can to support it and get people to love it as much as we all do. So we'll wrap up now. So tomorrow, yeah, there we go. Tomorrow's race, Saxon to Avranches. So we head north, we cross the Rhone River, we go up another of those fantastic zigzag climbs. You won't be surprised to learn that it's more climbing. In fact, it's a lot more climbing. Today was 883 meters total climbing. Tomorrow, 1,842 meters. It's an average grade of 7%. I think it looks like there's going to be a lot more steady riding as we go up. So I'm sure there's some steep slopes in those zigzags as we get there, but a bit more, sorry, I'm telling you, cumulative climb. So that 1,842 is the two days. Tomorrow is 959 meters climbing in the actual stage. So getting my meters mixed up there. So tomorrow 959 meters. It's a bit longer. Tonight was just over 11 kilometers. Tomorrow is 16.6 kilometers. So in some ways it might be a little bit easier. It's a it's a longer race, and it's a bit more climbing, but maybe at a slightly steadier pace. So we'll see whether some of the someone like John Beams, who can keep out a steady power, should do well tomorrow. We'll see if some of the more sort of TT steady riders can get something over the lighter riders. I'm not entirely sure. There's still a lot of climbing, but we'll see how they go. So we head north up into the Bernese Alps. It would be great views if you were there, and it'll be great views on Magic Road, and it'll be great racing as well. So that's all we have for you tonight. Check on the Facebook page to see the results, as you see the results, whether you've been doing them or whether you want to just see where everybody's finished. And that'll be it. Thanks very much for watching. I'll be with you tomorrow night, so I'll see you then. Cheers.